So my research is on school boards and how they develop policies for English language learners, otherwise known as ELLs. These are students whose first language isn't English. Why focus on school boards? Well, they govern more than 13,000 school districts in the United States, which includes nearly 50 million students. Yet only 10% of the population actually participates in school board elections. Also, most school boards, especially in urban areas, don't look like the communities that they represent. They typically are whiter, wealthier, and more formally educated. You can see that this article, First Kill All the School Boards, some folks want to get rid of them. One reason has to do with their failure to fix the educational inequalities that are often associated with children's racial background, income, and linguistic ability. One of the reasons I'm interested in ELLs is because they tend to perform at the bottom in terms of test scores and graduation rates. For instance, this graph shows the results of a national math assessment, and you can see a gap of more than 30 percentage points between non-ELLs and ELLs. In my research, I compared 3 locally elected school boards in Las Vegas, Tucson, and Salt Lake City, all areas with large and growing populations of ELLs. My data consists of 30 interviews and 4 years of school board meeting minutes and documents. I use a theory that suggests that public perceptions influence the perceptions of elected officials, which then influence how public policy is developed. So far, this theory seems to be pretty accurate. For example, you can see at the top is a quote from a community member who perceived ELLs as taking away resources from the African American community. She said, "You got immigrant kids that have now gone through ELL and qualify for that job because they're bilingual. Our kids, on the other hand, are not. Shoot, they can't even speak English well, or fill out an application for that matter. So how is that fair?" Below that, a school board echoes some of these same perceptions. And then on the bottom is a policy that reflects these perceptions that highlight the need to implement strategies around literacy for ELL students and for students with language difficulties, which would include the African American children. So my preliminary results show that public perceptions do, in fact, drive policies in education. For this example of a policy is pretty positive because it's inclusive. The problem is that when public perceptions are negative, for instance, ELLs might be perceived as illegals, which they have, then some of those policies would result in something that would take away opportunities for that community. The implications of my research really seeks to identify ways that we can maximize participation and diversification in public participation in school boards so that we can try to eliminate some of these educational inequalities. Thank you.